I'm in Taroona, Rick.
Are
I was
you?
here a year ago, and it's
On this very day?
well, kind of around about here, but
Not
for
really.
media purposes, we'll say it's a
Sure.
year.
All right. Yeah. Mhm.
So it's a year ago-ish, and first bumped into Bridget Green walking two stunning poodles in Taroona, and I stopped to ask her about them because there'd just been a census. I said, "Oh, what about dogs? They don't mention them, do they?" And I learned so much more from that conversation. Bridget, good morning.
Good morning, Andy.
Thanks for the revisit.
Yeah,
You
pleasure.
don't write. Children don't acknowledge me in the streets. It's been a year now.
Sorry.
Just to recap, then, it was 7 years ago when you were at a science conference in Rome and
Yes.
you acquired a brain injury.
Yes. Yeah, I caught a virus, a chickenpox virus, which for most people is not harmful. Unfortunately, for me, it went into my spine and brain.
And over the last year, well, when I met you a year ago, you were dealing with the brain injury, but also looking at what you could do
Yeah.
with your future. So, what's the last year been like?
Excellent. I've had
Yeah.
a really great year. So when the brain injury first happens, there's a big void ahead of you. It's really the unknown of everything. How will I live my life? Was an academic, a very successful one, busy mother, and all of a sudden I couldn't do those things. And there's a lot of fear in the unknown, particularly when it comes to being busy and occupation. So I started breeding poodles, which is what we talked about a year ago, and it's just been delightful. I've had a lovely year of breeding dogs, enormous support from the NDIS to
Because you did
participate.
say when I met you last year, you said navigating the NDIS was really challenging.
Navigating the beginning of the NDIS was really challenging. Once we were on and had built a team, I have an amazing team of support workers and allied health professionals. Since we've got that team together, it's been life-changing. I can leave my house now knowing I can get home, knowing how to get myself home. I have tools to get myself home.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because most of us walk out the door and we just need to remember our keys. If we achieve that, we're doing well.
Yeah.
But with you, there's a lot more involved in planning,
Yeah.
stepping out of the house.
So when my brain fatigues, I can't speak or walk or think clearly. I'm in the 10th percentile for navigating, which means I get lost. I got lost in Battery Point for an hour.
Nice place to get lost, though.
Tiny place, though. Tiny, for a whole hour. Yeah, so
There she is again.
yeah, right. So I need tools to help to do that planning so that I can catch a bus.
What are those tools, though?
I spent 6 months at a speech therapist learning to say my address, because if you can't say your address clearly, taxis often think you're drunk and won't take you home.
And there's a key point here, Rick. This is quite a simple bit of apparatus, but it's a national assistance card.
So that was launched 6 months ago. There was a Tasmanian project that went national, and if I get stuck, I can hold up my card and it says on the back, here are the things I have trouble with and here's how you can help. And the how you can help's a really big one. Because often with a brain injury, people assume you've got a lower intellect and they'll speak more slowly. But actually the help I need sometimes is just someone to grab my arm and stabilise me, or
That's really interesting. If community want to help, but they just know in what facility they
Yeah.
you're wanting to be helped. Also, talking about areas that are specific for people with brain injury and how those small pockets of security can be encroached upon by, well, maybe well-meaning people. But what was the story about the swimming pool?
So I swim a few times a week with the help of my support workers, and I was in the water rehabilitation lane, which is specifically for walking and water rehabilitation. And there were lap swimmers, so it was me. It was like Frogger. I had to keep dodging them, and one guy got really angry and swam over the top of me and then got out and complained to the lifeguard that I was in his way. And the lifeguard said, mate, it's their space, it's their space.
Yeah.
And really there are so few spaces for people with disabilities that it's really tough when they're encroached upon, particularly so aggressively.
How's family as well? We spoke last year about one of your goals was to be able to walk your children to school.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking to Bridget Green in Taroona, who suffered a brain injury from the contracting the chickenpox virus 7 years ago. So last year you managed to achieve that goal of walking your kids to
Yeah.
school.
And now my next goal with them is to have dinner every night, and that's exceedingly difficult.
Because of the day, the grains of time,
Yeah.
Sand, run quickly
Yeah.
in your day, don't they?
So I just get enormously fatigued, and when I'm fatigued, as I said, I can't speak. So I want to be able to sit at dinner and listen and talk and engage, and that's a big cognitive load for those of you who don't have perfect brain function. It's a big job.
We've also in the presence of greatness because we've got an Australian champion, haven't we?
So one of the things of breeding poodles is you have to prove that they're awesome, and so we had to show our dog Artemis to prove that she was of quality to breed. So she is indeed an Australian champion, and my 10-year-old son took her through that process. So that was an enormous job for the whole family.
It's a great dog. Just quickly, because I don't imagine we've got that much more time, but the litter of poodles that you bred this year, you bred 2 litters, one previous year. This litter, quite interesting how you are navigating their futures.
So actually it was the first litter, one of them's a dentist dog, so her job is to keep people calm at the dentist. Another one's a school dog, and he helps trauma kids with their reading and just with general attendance at assembly. So their job is to keep people calm, keep them happy. Another one from this litter is a medical alert dog, and another one's a therapy dog. So sending lots of help into the world in the form of poodles.
I know it's only just August, but it could be the feel-good story of the year.
It feels like it